Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monday night's Gravel Trap Legends Oh, this is not the BMW. This is the GT4 Americana series. My name is Tim Lawson, and with me this evening is Neil Haynes. Good evening, Neil.
Good evening, Tim. And yes, what are we up to? Round 3 here of the GT4 Americana series.
And very excited to have the GT4s at Road America. Well, like you said, round 3, so let's take a look. The first 2 rounds have been quite entertaining. And we'll pop now and have a quick look at the leaderboard. And we can see that we've had the top 3 drivers have all used their wildcard. So for this series, it's the GT4s, and the wildcard is the Sigma P2. And they can, any round, they can choose to run the Sigma P2 and gain points for the leaders, so we can see here on the board. The interesting thing is Darren, No Frills and Brett all yet to play the wildcard, and I think they're going to be quite powerful when they're talking about bringing it out at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, that will be a good track for the Sigma. Obviously this track here, not too sure, we haven't got too many of the P2s obviously. Got what, about 4 or 5, I think?
There was talk of 3, maybe 4. It wasn't confirmed. We'll find out very shortly. The guys are currently on track doing qualifying. We'll go live to the stream very shortly. We'll take a quick look over at the teams leaderboard, because this is a teams of series. And Twinks Racing currently sitting on top position with 112 points. Second, John Deere with 102, and third is Dunkin' Donuts with 101. And the top 6 drivers all make up the top 3 teams. Obviously very competitive at the pointy end, but there's some absolutely outstanding racing going on in the middle pack too. And we're also running the Targa event this series, as we quickly take a look at the Targa table, and this is the combination of fastest race laps. At the moment, Dino sitting ahead of the T9 by about 0.03 of a second, or 0.3, sorry. And a shout out to T9, absolutely commanding drive this series. He's been ultra competitive in the last couple of series, but has really shone through this series, showing his true form in the GT4s.
Yeah, driving for the Jack Daniels team, the old number 7, so he's absolutely enjoying this pacing he's got in the Mercedes.
And the 2 fastest cars at the moment are the Mercedes. Their straight line speed is outstanding, and they will shine through tonight for sure.
Yeah, I think No Frills is actually, isn't Brett actually in the Twinkies McLaren, isn't he?
Yet No Frills is. But No Frills in the Targa table is sitting 5th, and they're a full 3 seconds behind Dino and T9.
Just looking at the bloody 9 at the moment, 4/10 up, and he's just got the back marker of one of the John Deere cars on his hot lap here of qualifying, so hopefully that's not going to affect his time here, because this will put him on pole position, Tim. He's just got the final corner, and he will be able to benefit from the drag, the tow up the hill. It looks like he's ghosting through there as well at the moment, so that will benefit the bloody 9. And there he goes, on pole.
214.3. And we'll just quickly take a look at Miss Speedville, or Miss Fire for Americana Speedville. And she's bringing us the weather forecast for this evening, Neil. So introducing the GTO weather girl for round 3, Miss Fire. She reports that there has been spring rain overnight, so early qualifying may still be on a damp track. Morning temperatures will be around 14 degrees, with track temps starting at 25 degrees. The race is scheduled for midday, and Miss Fire has predicted the temperatures to creep into the mid-30s, which should put track temps up into the 40s. But the GT4s do run a hard tie, Neil, and we don't expect that the temperatures will be too much of an issue for the GT4s.
No, we shouldn't think so, and made this a good fast times here in qualifying. We had Gunner into the 213s on Wednesday night. So we'll see what these guys can pull out during qualifying. As you said, tricky conditions at the moment with the track quite not gripped up, with a 214 by the bloody 9. And currently watching Brett in the Twinkies car. This is the car leading the team's championship. And he's just finding himself about 0.3 of a second behind pole position at the moment. Now they've got roughly just under 15 minutes remaining of qualifying before we see the P2s come out. And confirmation of 4 P2s taking the wild cards, both DJM, DDF, B Mackenzie and also Scar taking the opportunity to take the P2 as well. And can we just hope, everyone please watching this broadcast, just please hope that this man here can actually see the end of one race. Viperon has had the worst luck for the first opening 2 rounds, being disconnected, and nothing worse than last week. I think it was right there with 2 laps remaining. Tim, I think he got shown the back door there at Laguna Seca.
Yes, we had 3 drivers disconnect last week, very close to the end of the race. Very disappointing for all 3 of them. But if you're wondering why the screen looks a little bit cloudy, there is a little bit of fog around. The overnight rain has made it a little bit humid this morning, so there is some heavy fog sitting over the track at the moment for qualifying. And the track is reported as being a little bit greasy.
And just have a look what the drivers have to contend with at this stage. It's looking very like a British summer's day, doesn't it, really?
Oh, you could almost say a beautiful day in Melbourne there, Neil.
Yeah, that's it. Melbourne has had a little bit of a rough trot there for the Grand Prix, but luckily on Sunday the sun shone all day and put on a great day for the Formula 1 travelling circus.
Let's hope
we won't go into the red flag fiasco, but one thing we know with Gravel Trap Legends, we don't even know anything about a red flag, but we do know about the cautions, the way that they can call a safety car. Tim, do you want to just inform the viewers how that may happen and the rules relating to the safety car?
Yeah, so with Gravel Trap Legends we use a virtual safety car. So from lap 1, any driver who is dispositioned can call out a safety car or a virtual safety car, and if that is granted by the race director, then the cars will slow down to the safety car pace, allowing the cars to group up. If the car requires to return back to pits, they will allow the car to return back to pits before they start their race, and they can call the safety car at any stage up until 5 minutes to go. And this is a 55-minute race, Neil, plus 1 lap.
Yeah, so they'll definitely be into it. This track is so open as well, so flowing. This little kink that we just see Max coming through here, turn 11. It's so vital to make sure you can just manage that car through the kink and keep the power on exit, because it's still a big drag down up into turn 12 here at Canada Corner. And as we know, as you can see, Tim, Max trying to get the power on, and the car just very loose, and it loses a ton of time when that happens as well, because there's still a little bit to go before they get up into the final corner. And as we all know, this is a vital corner to get the power on, so you can get that horsepower up this big hill up to the start finish line and down this long opening straight.
And if anyone wants to enjoy the GT4s, they are an absolute pleasure to drive. They're close to 500 brute horsepower, very similar to a GT3. They just don't have any ability to adjust the handling of the car pretty well. It's what you get is what you've got. But they are an absolute bucket of fun. Highly recommend anyone getting involved with the GT4 series. Here on Gravel Trap Legends, if you want Wednesday nights, they run a shakedown league. Anyone who is a member of the Discord can rock up. And I think this week, Neil, we may be off to Sonoma. Is that correct? Now that I've said that, I think I'm actually incorrect.
Wednesday? No, I don't think Sonoma's actually on the list, buddy.
Let me quickly go back here. Let me go back. I do apologise for this, guys. I've actually stuck my foot into it there.
Anyway, we're looking at John Slow at the moment in position 4 in the KFC finger looking good Porsche, teammate to Viperon. And as we said, we really want to see these guys get a good result if they can here tonight. Just have not had the luck whatsoever. But with also John not having the best of luck with his disconnects at the same time as well. He's languishing all the way back down. I think from memory.
Yes,
we did have the point scores there before. Yeah, in 20th position at the moment, John Slow. So they've had a rotten time trying to get this Porsche going. But currently second in this qualifying session with about 8 minutes remaining, Tim. So it's going to be exciting. The last few runs, most of these cars are yet to take.
And a 214.3 on a slick track in a Porsche. Very impressive.
But let's just hold on. He was actually 0.4 of a second up there, Tim, in the first sector. So let's keep an eye. We'll stay on board with John Slow. Get the cameras to stay on him because this could be a pole setting time. As we said, we did see the 13s from Dino, I think it was, on Wednesday night.
And the time trials actually had low 212s. Just to correct myself, Neil, we're off to Montreal next week.
Montreal, yeah, I should actually remember that because it's the race that I will not be able to help you in the broadcast there, so you may have to fly solo there, Tim.
Yeah, and actually I'm going to return that favour the following week when they're off to Watkins Glen. I'll actually be away. So,
yeah, what a two great tracks day. Montreal, one of the best Canadian street circuits, obviously plays host to the Grand Prix for the Formula 1 cars and has had Indy cars there, I think, from memory, but obviously they've had NASCAR there and they're going to have Gravel Trap Legends there next week, so look out. And here we go, John Slow. Will he put this thing on pole? Yes, he does with a 213.741. Now, who's going to respond? We've got Brett out on track at the moment. We're saying that both Darren, No Frills and Brett are the guys to really keep an eye on because they still have not had their wild card and not too far off the pointy end of the championship standings either. But the tricky thing here is, Tim, that these guys may just be pulling out the same race where they're going to pull out the Sigmas, and they may not benefit from a good points haul when they're all racing against themselves in the Sigmas. So
that is true.
One thing that I've mentioned, I think, in the broadcast at Laguna Seca, I was surprised that we only had the 3 Sigmas. I thought a lot more people were going to pull out the Sigmas for that race.
So if you're wondering what we're talking about, the GT4s have their own point scoring and the Sigmas have an independent point scoring. So the multi-classes are racing against each other, not against the other class. So when you've only got 3 P2s running an event, then they'll get first, second and third and the points for first, second and third. So it'll be interesting at the moment. We're only really seeing 3 or 4 P2s run in every event, with most of the drivers preferring to run their luck at Watkins Glen, which will mean some of the guys may actually be disadvantaged if they run 6 or if they have 7 or 8 P2s on track and can't make it to the pointy end of the P2 field. They may drop back into point scoring.
Exactly. We're looking at Dino at the moment, seeing what he can do with this time. Currently 5th on the grid. And I'll just pull up the overview here so you can actually see the time remaining. So this qualifying sessions for the GT4s finished with 15 remaining, and that's when we will see the P2s of the Sigmas come out for their qualifying run. So as you can see, we're getting close to only 4 minutes remaining with a lap time of over 2 minutes. The guys will start wanting to get out if they're going to put a time down. Norb's in the BMW in the Fanta car, doing a good job. The BMWs have been a little bit of a tricky car to try and tame, you could say.
Hasn't taken anything away from the enjoyment of driving the BMW, but it has reasonably good straight line speed. It has good speed in the flowing corners, but it really struggles on turn in and turn out. And I've really struggled through sector 3 to maintain the pace through turns 12 and 14.
So we're just looking at Esky Man 2 coming out of the carousel, coming along down into the kink in the Rockstar Mercedes. Not too sure how he's going here. He will be able to get another lap in. He's obviously on an out lap or something there because he's well and truly down on his time. Crunched up car, but you see this during the qualifying sessions here on Automobilista too, because if the drivers have an accident and they teleport back to the pits, they don't actually get the visual repairs done. They will get the repairs done on their cars for themselves, but obviously on our screen it looks a lot different.
And I'm quite surprised not to see more Mercs at the front of this field at the moment, Neil.
Yeah, we've got the bloody 9 obviously on sharing the front row with John Slow at the moment in the Porsche. Brett in the McLaren. Mac Attack. I can't remember what he's, but Dino's in a Mercedes in 5th, so he's not too far behind either. So there's a couple of Mercs there.
We've got a couple of guys in the chat. Good evening, Cuckoo, and the guys watching the stream this evening. Welcome. If anyone can we just have a quick look on Mac Attack? Is he in the Dunkin' Donuts?
He's in the Dunkin' Donuts Janetta. And we've got the 2 teammates sitting there together as one of them is just leaving now.
Mac Attack is the reserve driver for this series, so he'll be filling in. If I just take a quick look for the Dunkin' Donuts, he'll be filling in for Woodsy, I'd say.
Yeah, so he's sitting there having his little coffee, waiting for the end of qualifying with a minute and a half. He doesn't want to get out there, it's too cold. So he's just sitting there enjoying his coffee. And G-Dude, seeing what he can do with his Jack Daniels car. Currently 14th. Oh, as he runs wide out of the kink. As we said, it's a tough corner at the best of times, but with this fog, it's going to make it a lot harder. The drivers are basically running into their blind almost. It's Dat Boy in the Skittles Porsche. So the Porsches are well represented here tonight. Obviously John Slow putting it on pole, absolutely showing all these other drivers up that's in the rear engine monsters of the Porsche. And they'll be all scratching their heads thinking, how does he put it up that far up? And they're still struggling a little bit. So 30 seconds, so most of these drivers will be on their last lap. He's going to get one more in if he wants to. He'll be the last driver that should get a lap in. There is another car coming down the straight now, back straight now, that could probably get one more lap in.
And our leading Porsche, John Slow, is driving with Viper on.
I think Stu's car looks like it when you actually realise that you're not eating ham, you're only eating spam, and you throw the can at the ground.
It looks like a very well used camping can of Spam, that one for sure. And I cannot believe it, Neil, but actually after these broadcasts I've got Spam coming up in my news feed on Facebook.
Oh, it's amazing. It's maybe you have to turn off your microphone as in comes Stu with his battered up can of Spam. And he's Josh Hill. We actually have not seen him during qualifying at the moment, but he's on a really good time here, but he's got one car in front of him. And he's in the electrifying PV Camaro, and doesn't they sound good on track?
As the M&M's McLaren moves out of the way and lets him through.
Just struggling. He's just drifted wide in that final corner. This is going to cost him, I would think. I'm not going to think that he's going to get a better time here. 1.7 seconds off pole position, and he stays that way. So that may have cost him that little bit of time, but I think that he wouldn't have made up that time to Dat Boy in 9th position, in all honesty, as Mark will be finished too. So I think we're now into the run-ins of
P2s.
As we've got Trimington. He's obviously a substitute there for Rangy Rover. Is that right? Rangy in the Hooters.
I believe so.
I think it might be. Or one of the cars.
Just updating you on the weather. It is currently around 14 degrees. The track temperature is around 25, which is why we've got a little bit of fog hanging around from overnight rain. The fog is expected to clear, and race temperatures should be up into the mid-30s, and the track temp should be up into the low 40s. So at the moment, the fog and the overnight rain is still causing a few greasy moments on this track. So we'll not be seeing the best out of these cars, but the guys, it'll be interesting to see how the P2s match up. They don't have the top line speed that we see from the GT4s, but they have the downforce to enable their pace around the corners.
Yeah, I think you're definitely going to see these cars in Sector 2 absolutely shine, especially when you're talking the carousel. You know, and the King, they'll be able to be full throttle right through there, and we'll see. But big name here with Darren, currently, as we said, on 58 points in the championship, trailing 4 points to Mark. Mark's already thrown his wild card out when he was at Long Beach, I think it was, for round 1. So we'll see how Darren goes. So he'll obviously be wanting to get this car on pole and run this race all the way to the checker flag in the lead of this race, because this will put him up maybe to take the championship lead after round 3 here at Road America. So we'll wait and see. Though he's got some competition, obviously, with DDF, who's struggled a little bit, to be honest, and currently sits in 15th on the championship on 30 points. So he's a long way away, but obviously getting a good result here will boost him right up into the standings. And
DDF is, we just got to point out that DDF missed out on round 1, but has been leading the time trials and has been ultra competitive in his pace since joining us in round 2 and round 3. So we're still expecting a big night for DDF. And DDF is also one of our YouTubers. You can watch in-car footage from his stream, DDF Racer, if you jump onto YouTube. And also John Slow is one of our YouTube streamers. You can see in-car footage from John Slow, the average racer.
Yeah, so also Bales is only 3 points, 7 points in front of DDF in the standings. So it's going to be a nice little battle between both DDF and Bales McKenzie, as he puts it, not quite on pole position, as DJM has put that straight on to pole with Scar. What a good time from Scar 666 as well, to have that into second position. Yet to find some time if he's going to try and challenge DJM. And I reckon DDF, he's actually went back into the pits on his run, so he may have made a little bit of a mistake, as we can see Scar spinning around in the grass. As we'll stick with Darren. Let's see what he can do through these first sector.
I am absolutely amazed with the additional pace that the P2s had. I did not think that they would be this commanding on this track. I thought that the long straights would actually impede them a little bit. I certainly wasn't expecting a 10 plus second gap between our fastest GT4 and the P2s.
Yeah, I'd have to agree there as well, Tim. But I'm thinking that they're probably gaining just a second just around the carousel alone, and then pick up about half a second being able to stay full throttle.
I think through the carousel, Thunder Valley, Bill Mitchell Bend, all the way through that Sector 2 and Sector 3.
Yeah, so he's going to put this down into a low 201 maybe, Darren. So we'll just see what he can do.
I'm thinking...
I mean, not a low, I mean a high 201, sorry. Using all the road he can get, using all that real estate. The big climb up the hill with the DRS engaged. And there he goes, a 201.9, Tim, right on the money. He was second, faster than DDF. So we could be in for a nice little battle between both the D-boys, Darren and DDF.
And a great livery there, the Uncle Sam P2. Flying the American flag for the Americana series.
Yeah, exactly. As he's just coming up to one, all running
that
wide.
Would be a scratch.
It's still up by 0.6 of a second, so he
Has
may
he
not
saved
be
the lap
up.
though?
Well, I think he would have. They can be a little bit lenient through that exit of that corner, so we'll just see with the track limits. But with our timing monitors still taking his time, split times, recording, we think that his lap time is valid, and he'll be wanting to get this little hoe up the hill from Scar. And he does. What's he going to get here? Oh, just a whisker away from pole position.
2/100ths of a second. That is as close as you can get it.
Oh, it sure is. And we're just looking, Scar would have seen that, just seen how close that would have popped up on the leaderboard there. And he's probably scratching his head there with his sticky fingers, of oily fingers, I should say, from the bucket of chicken that he's probably just smashed before he jumped into the car here for qualifying for dinner.
So with 7 minutes to go, let's quickly take a look at the track map for where we are. Americana GT4 Series Round 3 is at Road America. Tonight's race is dated the 21st of May 2022. There are 14 corners on this track, and the Road America is 6.5 kilometres long, or 4.08 mile in the old school. Road America is a road course located near Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin on Highway 67. Affectionately referred to as America's National Park of Speed, the track was officially opened in 1955, hosting every form of motorsport on tarmac, and still hosts a variety of vintage racing events in between national and international races. It is one of the very few tracks that has been included into the US National Register of Historical Places, Neil. If you are a racing buff and you head to the States, this is one of the must-visit tracks on the old Route 67.
Oh, most definitely. It would be awesome to come and experience some racing around this circuit. I'm sure there'd be plenty of good vantage points as well, where you can really watch these cars thunder around at any race meet that you wish to attend. As Scar has not been able to better his time. Oh yes, he has. Sorry, I spoke too soon. He's almost got it down. Oh, he has got it into the 204s actually. Just got past the 205 mark, so a good time. But they are absolutely killing these times compared to the GT4s, Tim. More than what we did think. We've been riding off-road America for the P2 cars. Just under 5 minutes remaining. We'll just see what DJM can do once we can see a sector time pop up to see if he's actually on a flyer or not. You can just see he's got his DRS. Oh no, I was going to say, I thought he almost had the wing flap open through that kink. I think he may have had it open just a little bit on that turning, which maybe unsettled the car. Hence why it ran a little bit wide. It could cost him a little bit of time. Great shot as he comes through the second last corner, up over the curb, and the camera's mounted down into the curbs. I'm sure we're going to see plenty of action during the race, especially with this fog is meant to be lifting by race time.
So current air temperatures expected to be around 14 degrees, we would expect, and this is 9 o'clock in the morning for qualifying. Track temps are currently around 25 degrees, so it still is a little greasy. We would expect the race starting just after midday with the afternoon air temperature around 34 degrees and the track temperatures into the low 40s. And a big hello to everyone watching our stream this evening. Hope you're enjoying it. We've got 3.5 minutes left of qualifying as DDF goes faster yet again with the 201.5. Sitting on board now with Bales McKenzie as we come down the hill into turn 5. A little blind corner here, braking and turning in. You can't quite see the corner before you turn into it. Across the top over into turn 7, down Hurry Downs. The bottom of the hill, turning back into turn 8. And coming into the carousel, which is turns 8 and 9.
Let's see if he's full throttle through the kink here, Tim.
Didn't quite have the face to throw it in there full throttle, but through the kink, turn 11, down and around the forest into turn 12, which is Canada's corner. Up through Thunder Valley into turn 13. Drifted out wide here, back over the other side, turn 14.
You can see how this hill, it is a fairly steep little incline, and if you're behind a car, it does just help you a little bit to keep that horsepower and give that little bit of a slipstream to see if you can get a toe up the hill, and maybe a little dive down the inside of this fast entry to turn 1. It's I tell you what, you gotta be committed. As we just waiting to see here, DDF. He's going to get another lap. He just not quite faster than his previous lap. As here comes DJM. He's on a quick one here. Maybe he's invalidated that time, or could have actually been an outlap. I think it was actually an outlap, Tim. So this is his final lap. So we'll stay on DJM to see if he can get this pole position off DDF. DDF just in front of him. Guys, returning into the pits. He's actually better that time than he had before. He's now a 203.750. So great time by Scar. Coming to grips with the Sigma late in the session. He's got the 3 cars left on track.
Might see a split here to see how he's going. doesn't look like the timing is going to flick up for us. The DJM is pedaling this car to the max, trying to squeeze the last 2 or 3 tenths out of it.
Yes, I think DDF may be just the car in front of him, so I think it's Mackenzie Bales just coming up over the start-finish line now, which he does, and he does a better time. Just worried that DDF maybe invalidated his time when he came pretty wide out of turn 1, so without our time coming up, could be invalidated time. DDF still with a 201.5. Oh, he's got it. Got it on pole. 201.490, I think it was.
Very nice work for DJM. So we're seeing the top 4 cars are the P2s for this round. They're wild card. DJM with on top with a 201.4 last lap of qualifying. Just in front of DDF, but they'll share the front row. The guys are currently getting themselves organised, going through their setups, ensuring that everything is ready for tonight's race. We'll quickly go through and tell you the starting order. Row 1 will be DJM and DDF. Row 2, the other 2 P2s for Scar and Bales. Row 3 will be the start of the GT4s with John Slow and the Bloody Nine. Row 5 will be Dino and Brett S. Row 6 will be Mac Attack and No Frills. Row 7, Christopher and Esky Man. Row 8 will be Dat Boy and Joshua Hill. Row 9, Mark 860 and Norbs. Row 10, Kiz and Viperon. Row 11, Stu and Pixel. Row 12, G-Dude Max Power. And at the back of the grid, car 23 will be R Gambit.
Yeah, Rhetorical Gambit, obviously, I think didn't get a time in that qualifying session. So it's going to be interesting to see how they panned out for this race. As we can just sort of maybe sweep through some of these cars the best way we can, especially with the sun now shining. The Bloody Nine in that Jack Daniels with Dino in the John Deere. Twinkie's car, Brett, finds himself there back a little bit, as we said. Mac Attack in the Dunkin' Donuts. And alongside him, No Frills just behind him. So the 2 teammates looking good in the Janetta. And Christopher there and Esky Man in the Mercedes behind him in the Rockstar. Dat Boy in the Skittles Porsche, I think that one is. Joshua Hill in the Peavy, but we'll get away from that and we'll get into the start of this race as we're all syncing.
And big shout out to everyone who helped do the liveries for this event. Absolutely fantastic seeing these cars shine on track.
So they do just go off on a manual formation lap for a rolling start. So we will see that timer start ticking down, hence why we've got that +1 lap after the timer when it runs out. So the drivers will just...
you can just see just us standing on, that's Neil and myself standing on top of the gantry, bringing you the broadcast for this evening's race.
We've been a bit rude and don't want to wave there, so I'm holding on for dear life actually. I'm not too good on lights, so there we go. And here we are. We haven't seen Kiz out there in the Hooters, as it's a fan favourite.
Let's hope Stu doesn't get distracted at the start of the race from the vision in front of him.
I don't know if we should be actually going cockpit in here of Stu, because he may want a bit of privacy, and you can see him getting really close to those Hooters in the behind there. So we may just go on the roof where we can stay a bit safer and have a little bit of some shelter, you may say. A
big shout out while we're here. The reflection off of these cars, absolutely fantastic. The graphics for Automobilista 2, hands off to Reza, absolutely fantastic job.
Yeah, just enjoy that as he's coming through the trees there with the valley of the cars in the middle. So that's amazing, as you said. Oh, and here we got the 2 Pixel Boy. Oh, someone's already taken out a braking marker, which isn't too good on a formation lap. But the Pixel Max livery cars of the Porsches, very clever indeed with Pixel Boy, giving the Pixel. for taking away from the Pepsi, and then obviously max power for the max part of the drink. So.
We did have a quick surge in the lobby just then. Hopefully that was not someone dropping out.
I think we named 23 cars and we've still got 23 there. I could be wrong.
So get ready to everyone in our stream. We are coming around, getting ready for the start of this race. The guys are nearing the end of their warm-up lap. If you are watching the race, jump in the chat, say g'day. Love to hear from you.
Yeah, most definitely. It's always good to find out. And if there's a driver that you want us to have a little look at, let us know. And Tim will announce it, and we'll get the cameraman straight onto the car of choice. We're all open on for a lap ride on with any of these cars. We necessarily don't need to be joining the John Deere ride on of Dino. What a view this is as they coming through there. But here we go. So the leaders will be coming up through now to take the start of this race, Tim. And we got DJM.
And the green flag is out.
At the ready, and it'll be dropped very shortly. And we will hear the revs rise, and here we go. For round 3 here at Road America for the GT4 Americana series with Gravel Trap Legends.
We see the P2s get into file very, very quickly. The GT4's a little bit more brazen, going 2 or 3 wide through the first couple of corners. But everyone maintaining their pace.
Yeah, good to see that they're all filtering through nice and calmly. They can get a little bit feisty here as we got
wide.
I'm just trying to pick up who that Mercedes was as the Rockstar Energy car. They have no frills. No, it wasn't no frills. Sorry, I've got it all wrong. Esky man,
Oh,
sorry.
Esky.
So big run from Esky.
And we've got Bales there in the M&M car. And then no frills behind, or is that Mac Attack? I can't tell. One of the in both of the Dunkin' Donut cars.
Yeah, and I think we may have if we've got a safety car, they're still full on it here. I do know that Pixel Boy's right down the back of the grid. I think they're all gripping up. So it looks like the 2 Pepsi Max cars have been involved in some sort of incident. It's not something you want with the 2 teammates, but we haven't seen the footage, so Max's car actually looks fairly clean, like he hasn't touched anything compared to Pixel Boy's, where his front bumper's a little bit worse for wear, a bit of paint off it.
Fortunately, the engine in the back of the Porsches, so no serious engine damage there, but it will affect a little bit of the aerodynamics of that Porsche.
So as we know, oh look, there's the evidence there from the Mercedes behind with G-Dude. So he's been a culprit there with this incident, with obviously Pixel Boy. So Max Powell probably dodged the incident.
Very second-hand Mercedes there for sure.
Now these drivers aren't allowed to get through the field to get to the pace. Oh, he's been rear-ended as well. Look at the back of his car. It's smashed up as well, Tim.
I'm thinking that may have actually been contact with the Porsche to the back of the car and then forcing the Mercedes into the wall.
Yeah, could be.
I didn't see the yellow flag though, Neil.
That has been munted right up the back there. So definitely been a yellow flag with a virtual safety car, and it doesn't look like Pixel Boy's taking the opportunity to go for the pit stop, so I think we should be good to go. I was just going to comment that, yeah, so the drivers can't go on through for the, to look at this gabble of cars coming through, Tim. You wouldn't want to be in the middle here of them all weaving through.
3 cars wide into turn 1, that's not where you want to be.
Well, look like they're all trying to get through here nicely at the moment, which is good to see.
Another clean start, great for these guys.
As As Norb's trying to defend off Josh Hill, showing him the long way around of turn 3. And if Josh Hill can stay into it with the high power of the Camaro, but he's also got the speed from the Mercedes we've seen when they're trimmed out. Look at the way Norbs has just been able to pass straight out in front of that Camaro, and now he's attacking the BMW. I mean, Mark, I should say. In the
Ginetta comes into its own now. We're going to see the Ginettas and the Porsche really find some pace through this next sector of the track.
Yeah, a little bit of contact there between Dat Boy and Christopher, but they got through it okay.
Yes, the BMWs and the Mercs will really struggle coming down through turn 6.
Yeah, and Dat Boy's just struggling a little bit. He had a whole lot of understeer coming out of turn 8. But it's John Slow leading through the kink. He's got the Bloody 9, who we did see in qualifying. That there's a whole raggle of Mercedes of Bloody 19 Dino behind, and look who's behind Dino. It's Brett, who's obviously looking for a very good result. Oh, there's a big moment of the Bloody 9, and that's also caught out Dino.
And I'm not too sure if the cars made contact or whether he lost the rear of the car and that took them both out.
Yeah, not too sure, but it's right in the area where the AMS2 cameraman does not want to be in the valley, so we can't get that footage to you guys. But there's obviously still race on as the Viper on. Having a look at the Rhetoric Gambit. And he's made that stick in the KFC car, but he's run wide. They've all run wide, Tim. They're exploring the track limits there, and that's cost him quite a little bit of spaces there. As now we've got Stu right behind him, getting the better of the Hooters car of Kiz behind him. So Stu likes to be in front at the stage here, in front of this Hooters car, but the Camaro should have the top end speed. But I tell you what, the BMW's not slouched for speed either.
You can trim the BMW down. I was running rear wing on 2, and still able to maintain the car. It was quite competitive in the straight line. It was just a very poor cousin when it came to turning the corners.
Yeah, and the biggest problem also is some of the cars get a good draft off you as well from the BMW. They seem to just eat you up when you're looking in the rear view mirrors. But plenty going on here with Mac Attack leading a big bundle of cars behind him, with Christopher behind him in the McLaren, and then Dat Boy and Norbs.
And again, it's a bit of a fast food fest.
It's almost like a pits party here. Tim, you've got the M&Ms, the Skittles, the Fanta, all in together here.
And the donuts.
The donuts for later on. They're just sort of like in the meat of it all here. They're like a sandwich.
Those guys all enjoying the draft of each other. It's a bit of a chain going on. Guys all doing well to maintain their pace.
So up front, we've still got the big battle going on with the P2s of the Sigma, with Darren out in front and DDF keeping him honest, only within a second. And they're coming up now to G-Dude to put a lap on G-Dude after he's come out of the pits from that safety car.
And Neil, would you be able to bring up... Sorry, Neil, can you bring up the timing total for us? Thank you very much.
Yeah, apologies there. I totally forgot that was unselected, but here we go. So there's the leaderboard for hopefully for everyone there that you can see. Down to 16. There's obviously 23 runners still running. As here we come to put a first lap on the first of the GT4 cars with G-Dude. As I was saying, the previous lap, both cars were in the 203s, and have a look at DF at the moment. He has got a great run as Darren had to get checked up through the kink, trying to get past G-Dude. And this has now opened up an opportunity for DDF to take the lead of this race.
And you take the advantage of the slipstream up the hill. He may be a little bit too far back. No advantage on this lap.
You can just see how much it cost Darren as well with that little problem with G-Dude. Well, it wasn't a problem, but just trying to lap that lap traffic at the wrong time. DDF had a better run and he was able to do about a 0.4 second better lap time. Lights are blazing from DDF. Seeing if he can put Darren into a little bit of a mistake. They're on a cracking pace at the moment. Lap after lap. Just so consistent. But then there's a... John Slow has got a nice little margin at the moment on Bales McKenzie. I mean of Brett, sorry, I should say. 2.5 seconds. And then Brett's in a nice little position there in front of Esky Man by 1.5 seconds. But we could have just think what's going to happen with all this big child party, kids party of treats coming behind.
The interesting call, Neil, is going to be when the P2's cars catch up to the back of this train.
Oh, this is going to be a hard one for them to filter through. There's still a fair way before they will actually come to these cars, and these cars may start to spread out just that little bit.
We've been running 15 minutes now and they're almost half a lap. So we expect around to the 30-minute mark, probably the 25-minute mark. So another 15 minutes, we would expect that DJ and the DDF will come onto the back of this pack.
Nice little tasty battle of the cars. It probably should be up a little bit higher than where they are, especially after the bloody 9 had that massive big slide and finds himself all the way in position 16 in class. So he won't be happy about that mistake that he made. It was solely driver error.
And these two will have to start working in tandem now if they want to try and get onto the back of this little pack going.
Yeah, that's it. There's sort of little bits of spaces in between, so they definitely need to try and work together and help with the slipstream. But you know, drivers are drivers. They don't think this sort of helping one another. They just want to. Oh, as I think Vipron's gone wide, which is he has, and he's now under attack from Kiz. So Vipron's teammate John Slow is leading the class at the moment.
And we've gone from the fast food outlet to a night out. So we've got the finger looking good and there's spam in a can for a big night out at Hooters. Great to see these guys working in tandem around the track. Gives us something to talk about.
Definitely, and talking about a night out, you always want to probably have a few of these quiet ones as well.
Absolutely, and if you do grab the taxi, don't take the John Deere home.
No, that's it. And some people don't like to drink it neat, so they want to obviously mix it with a little bit of this. We've got it all covered here on the Gravel Trap Legends, so hopefully enjoying it. And we've got a little bit of flavour for everyone here tonight. Oh, there's a car actually, it's G-Dude. He obviously had a little bit of a moment out of the carousel. His little dot on the mini-map was stationary for a little while, so he's got going again.
Now, the damage we're looking at in his car was from earlier on. He has been in the pits for repairs, but the graphics of the car of the game did not show us the repairs completed. As we jump back into the mid-pack with Dat Boy in the Skittles Porsche, competing against Chris DeRosa in the M&M's McLaren, and they're on the hunt for the Dunkin' Donuts Ginetta.
They sure are, and I'll tell you what, who's given a little bit of cheek and also frustrating no frills is Norbs. He's putting that BMW in the right positions each time, and I can just see no frills just starting to get a little bit frustrated behind, so he's going to have to keep his cool. We can see how sometimes the drivers start losing it, maybe try and duck their nose down, and they all show respect to one another, and you can find that if they know they're in the wrong spot at the wrong time trying to make a cheeky move, a lot of the time these drivers will actually put themselves into a spin or avoid that car in front if they can avoid it, because, as I just said, they do show a lot of respect to one another here at Gravel Trap Legends. And they don't want to ruin other cars.
It was an interesting point from the Grand Prix on the weekend. Oscar Piastri doing very much the same thing. Didn't have the pace in the McLaren, but was able to position the car on track that it made it difficult for the cars behind him to take advantage.
Yeah, right. So look at the time that Rhetorical Gambit just put in, a 2:14.89 for that previous lap. The fastest man almost on track other than Brett in second position with a 2:14.833. So he's absolutely flying in this Skittles Porsche. And he's caught up to the back of this party of... as here he comes, dives down the inside. Is he going to be able to pull it up? No, he's not. And he's just absolutely made a mocker of my comment where I say they all give respect to one another and try and avoid one another, but he was on a mission there to hit that fan up. You could see that he was all locked up and he had nowhere else to go, and he was just hoping that maybe that Norbs would not turn in there, but Norbs was none of the wiser. It looks like a yellow flag or safety car has been called.
Yes, the cars are all grouping back up again.
This is where we can catch our breath. So we'll bring up some timings here as they are all filtering through. So we've obviously got DJM's currently leading the race with DDF in second. Scar and Bales McKenzie are having their own little battle as well. And then we've got John Slow leading class of the GT4s, with Brett not too far behind him now with the safety car being called, and Eskimo. So this is going to pack them right back up again, and really going to have to see how they go on this restart. I can tell you one person that I think that's going to be a hard man to keep behind is this man, Eskimo, in the Mercedes. So he's going to get a nice run with that power that the Mercedes is known to have down this straight, and if he can hold with them in that first opening lap and then come back up to the start-finish straight, he could monster these cars with a nice tow.
And a quick shout out to everyone watching this evening. Hope you're enjoying the stream.
So why are these guys going so slow? Oh, they're the leaders, that's why. So they've come around, so they're waiting for all the other guys to catch up. So the GT4s are going really slow. So there's a bit of confusion here. So John Slow should be actually speeding up to get to the back of the other cars. But it looks like they're going to start their race now. So they've taken it upon themselves to start this race, it looks like, with the GT4s. And here we go with Eskimo.
And again, running too wide into turn one.
Yeah, all filtering through nicely. As we got, there's a close move down here into turn 3.
So the PV Camaro taking a big dive down the inside.
Yeah, Joshua Hill doing a great job there, but he's got to try and hold off Mark. Mark's got the run, and also take him with him. Norbs is following. but he's fighting back. Joshua Hill, he's going to get it around the outside, but they're going to run wide, extending their track limits. They do have track limit warning, so can he duck it back around the outside of North? Yes, he can.
Wise moved back out of it there. It's not a place you want to go too wide, coming across the top of the hill into turn 6.
As No Frills gets a little bit unsettled on exit, and we've got someone else. We've got one of the Skittles cars, I think it was. I'm not too sure.
Someone stationary. Is it 2 cars stationary back there, or just the one? 2 cars?
I think it was Christopher. Unfortunately, he was in the mix here, and he has been unravelled in this mid-pack. What a sight it is to see all these GT4s running so well. Been a few little incidents that we can see of as the Skittles of Rhetorical Gambit. Now he's the car that caused the, am I right in saying he's the one that caused the previous full course yellow? Correct. As he went for a dive down the inside into turn 8, I think it was.
Yes.
And collected, unfortunately, Norbs. Or turn 5, sorry, it was after the big long straight. Out of turn 3,
And
so...
let's jump aboard the Porsche and take a lap around Road America.
I enjoy it, it's a bit quiet.
See the BMW running an extra lean mix in their fuel this evening, or this afternoon.
You won the Winnebago when you come to this circuit by the looks of things. Some vantage points that you can throw it in. And here he goes down the inside again. I tell you what, Knowles wouldn't be happy if it was 2 times through the same corner.
And a great crowd turned out for today's race. It'll be a great weather too for the racing today. You see the crowd on top of the hill there through turn 7.
Maybe a few red lobsters at the end of the day too, with them forgetting their sunscreen when they wake up. And there goes Knowles running wide.
BMW way out into the grass there.
Yeah, just trying to see where he's picking up. He's dropped a ton of positions, about 7 positions. So that cost him dearly out there on the wet grass. We've seen the misty weather during qualifying, and here we are, the bloody 9, trying to get into some action with Kiz. Looking around the outside, this is going to be a nice move. He'll give him the inside corner now. So a nice move, and we're going to have Dino probably follow him in behind. Oh, Stu's made a big mistake, unfortunately, and he's now losing our position. So the BMWs are just not staying on the circuit at this stage. They're running wide and costing themselves dearly. But look at this at the moment. I've just noticed Scar is actually in front of DDF. So something's happened to DDF somewhere where he's had an off. They're both doing 2:05s that previous lap. What was the lap times here? Will this show some evidence if DDF has a longer time? No, he's done a 2:03, so he's on the comeback trail. Looking down the inside. Back up into P2.
And he's got some work now, almost 6 seconds back of DJM. And no draft to aid him. He's going to have to pedal that car quite hard.
Yeah, definitely. And just under 30 minutes remaining, plus that, well, pretty much 30 minutes remaining of this race when we include that last extra lap. As they come up now to put a lap on, I think it might have been Pixel Boy. Yes, it was. Oh, there's a bit of an incident up in this corner here. There's cars off. Not too sure who will be there.
Cars all seem to be moving again now. Oh, there goes the tyre.
You're on board there, losing a wheel, but it was actually...
Is that Pixel or Max?
John Slow's team. It was John Slow's teammate, Vibron, who actually had made a mistake there. This is going to be a long way back to pit lane for Pixel Boy. He's got only got to the carousel here, so he's got well and truly just under half of the track distance to go. And he's smoking those tyres up as he goes. You're going to have to watch his engine there.
Yeah, the engine and the diff are two things that can also go. That would leave him stranded on track.
So Eskiman's made that move up into P2, so he's put Brett into third position. So now he's chasing down John Slow for the lead of the GT4 class. And he looks like he's got the pace as well. Late in the race, we've only just ticked over halfway. So still a lot of racing to go, Tim, so anything can happen. We've already seen the two virtual safety
and DJM has had an off, and that has brought DJ DDF back up onto the mix. We're now only 1.5 seconds between them.
And could this be a reason why we did see that off as well, Tim? He's battling to get through this lap traffic. I tell you what, you're going to have nerves of steel to get through here, but they've got that extra, yeah, he should be able to get him around the outside of some of these long corners, especially the carousel, but he's got these tight little 90-degree corners where he can't really poke his nose in see, so he's getting caught behind some of these cars, and you can just see now, oh, there's a spare wheel, and it's been clobbered by the PV car of Joshua Hill. Hopefully that doesn't give him any damage, but DDF just getting held up a little bit, but he should be able to get around the outside here, but that's a long way, compromised a little bit of his exit. And just behind them, also Scar's doing the same thing, so Scar's not out of this either if anything happens to these leading two cars.
And we went far off the mark, near the 25-minute mark. We expected these P2 cars to come into this pack.
Yeah, but the virtual safety car was a little bit of a funny one there that we last had there, where John Slow seemed to slow up and they had their own little groups of cars, because the P2 seemed to have was still going around slowly, and the GT4s decided to take off when they hit the start-finish line, and this is why I think they caught them up so quick. As Max Power and Pixel Boy, the two Pepsi Max cars, are in pit lane getting serviced. Oh, careful there.
There's a nervous moment.
Very nervous moment also, because you got the P2 car. Actually, not the P2 car, sorry. That's...
Is that Brett in the Twinkies? McLaren?
Yeah, well, could be, is it? Yes, it is. It is Brett, sorry. So he's falling back as well. So he was P2. So Mac Attack's been able to get him. Actually, am I reading that right? Yeah, Esky Mans. How to go with John Slow here. This is why I was a little bit confused, because the leaderboards were changing. It was because Esky Man's having a go at John Slow, and he's got also the lead of the race, DJM, right behind him.
So we've got first and second for the P2s and first and second for the GT4s, all in the same track space here.
Yeah, and it's John Slow running extra wide out of turn 8. How good is downforce? As DJM just goes right around the outside. Runs a bit wide, John Slow. Wouldn't be able to get hold of it. He runs wide again out of the kink, so he's going to be vulnerable down the end of this straight. Esky Man has been shown the outside. The Porsche is great on the brakes.
Long way around turn 12 on the outside. Back up through Thunder Valley, through turn 13. The Bill Mitchell bend.
What a shot that was as they came rearing over the camera.
Back hard on the brakes into turn 14 and back up to the start finish line. The Mercedes now will stretch its legs. Has he got enough to catch the draft up the hill? I think John may get away with this. He tucks on the inside.
Still a little bit to go on this straight, but you're right, Tim.
Braking zone now. John slow positioning the car, making it difficult for Esky to find a clean run. But another opportunity here if Esky can get a good clean run out of turn 3. Back down to Marianne's sweep.
He could just get right around the outside here too, if he wants to. He's got the power, but the braking of the Porsche, but then will the Porsche outbrake itself? He's looking for the over and under, and he may have it here, Tim, up over the hill.
Yes, it's a blind turn in there. I think John Slow's going to have to give it up, but John's got the advantage coming back down the hill now through turn 6.
Nice move here by John. He's still holding on, but he's now on the wrong side of the circuit. Look at the Porsche, how strong it is under the brakes. He's got it around the outside, Tim. He's still in the lead of this race.
Too wide for almost half a lap around Road America. Absolutely insane.
It's a quality race in there, but John's going to have to not get caught napping here because look at Esky Man go. He's weaving everywhere before the kink. That's going to cost him some time because now he's got the P2. He's going to just let go through here. And the P2s are just struggling to get that final pace. This is where the GT4s start keeping the top end speed over the P2s.
And looks like Mac Attack is ever so slowly creeping up onto the back of these two as they battle it out.
Yeah, well, both Mac Attack and Brad on that previous lap, as you can see, were in the 215s. These guys have slowed down with their battling because they're obviously going 2 by 2 and not taking their correct racing line. So they're slowing each other down just that little bit. But this is going to make some entertaining racing as the other cars are slowly catching.
And can he take advantage now? The crisscross gets him on the inside now, coming into turn 3. No, he's had to pull out of it.
So that's one thing that's going for the Porsche at the moment is how late on the brakes John Slow. He's got so much confidence in this car too, Tim. Over, well, I won't say over everyone because you got Dat Boy not too far behind in the Skittles Porsche.
But unfortunately the Porsche does lack that top end speed.
And look at him coming through here, back in the light under the brakes. He forced Esky Man out wide, but will Esky try and duck down through the... Oh, the rear's just grabbed a bit of the grass there on turning, and he was lucky to hold on to that Esky Man.
And that shows the strength of the Porsche on the previous lap. When the Porsche was on the outside, it was able to stay with the Mercedes, where Esky struggled to maintain the corner speed with the Porsche being on the outer.
I think we've heard here of another full course yellow, so we're going to go under the virtual safety car again, and this is just going to help Dat Boy in this Skittles Porsche to see if he can get through these Janetta early on this restart.
And we've also got Bales McKenzie on the back in the P2 on the restart to come through these guys.
Stu still holding on to P13, doing a good job there in the BMW. Mark, who I believe is our championship leader, is all the way down in 14th. He's equal leader with the bloody 9. and I'm just trying to find the bloody 9 up in P7. So he's just off the back of Bales as well. So he may get a nice little run.
But 18 minutes to go, Neil. The cars are all grouped back up again.
I tell you what, there's been some rubbing in this race, and Tim, and the cars are definitely showing that at this stage. But John's slow. His car's looking fairly clean, as is DJM's. And DDF, will he get the run that he wants? So they're going slow again. So this is where I'm getting at, and we'll find now that these guys are probably going to go. So unless when they say go, that's when the P2s are going.
Well, they have got the race director in their chat. They will be keeping them up to pace with the events of the race. So it looks like we are continuing to roll around, waiting for the cars to actually make it back into the pits.
So this is actually going to benefit these guys, because that one extra lap, they're going to be able to get onto the back now of the GT4 cars before they hit the go.
But how is that low grumble of the Camaro?
It is just unbelievable.
And a little bit of fumes coming out of the exhaust. The graphics, the audio, everything about Automobilista 2, absolutely outstanding. Rees are doing a fantastic job in putting this game together.
Yeah, the heat haze that you saw as well from the engine now, it sort of dissipates as the car's moving. So he's moving out, but he had a long stop because we obviously had Mark in after him, and Mark got out in front of him. So they haven't lost too much ground, as you can see. Now they'll be able to get back up to speed. The leading GT4 cars are only now coming up to turn 5.
And just looking at this, Neil, it looks like we have the 3 P2s.
We had Mark. Well, Mark has come off out of the pit lane, and he's spun it out of turn 3.
Cold tyres.
So let's rehash here. We've got the all the P2s together now, and they're all fighting, all on the same lap. So this is going to be entertaining. And then we've got John Slow.
Commanding drive from John so far in the Porsche.
Oh, it's been a sensational drive by
and
John.
Esky is not going to let him go, as the fuel runs down, and that Mercedes is only going to get quicker.
Definitely, and Brett obviously means business every time he's on a racetrack.
Very clean looking car too, the McLaren, the Twinkies McLaren.
Yeah, so don't count him out. Mac Attack's been doing well in the Ginetta, but just doesn't seem to have that speed down the straights, losing out. Probably the worst car actually on the straights here at this circuit.
Mac Attack is backfilling in for Woodsy in the Dunkin' Donuts Ginetta.
Yeah,
and
we've got,
with the cars this close together, they're going to get the advantage of the draft. And if they can stay with these cars, they will make it difficult come turns 5, 6, 7 and 8. But the race is off and going again. 14.5 minutes left in this race, plus 1 lap.
So these cars are going now too before the start finish line, or are they? No, they're waiting. I thought they were just hammering it for a minute there, and I thought this was going to get a little bit tricky, but
yeah, it's probably not the best section of the track to start the race.
Now these guys are going slow too, so I'm not 100% sure. We're a little bit confused here in the commentary box, sorry guys. I think what they're going to be doing is going on the go. They went on the go then with the P2s, but by the looks of the P2s are slowed down, so I think that maybe we will be going on the go.
I think they determined that the GT4s were not in an appropriate section of the track to actually go. They were very close to Canada's corner, which would have made it very, very messy.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's a good point there, Tim. I think that's probably why.
But we are going again.
Making a liar of us all. So maybe that's what happened, Tim. Maybe because we have got a car in the pits. Christopher's in the pits. So maybe on that restart, a safety car was called straight away because there seemed a little bit of an aggro on that restart with the GT4s as I switched over.
Yes, unfortunately not able to bring you a replay of any of the events from the broadcast booth. If someone is sitting in the chat and could help us out and tell us what actually happened, if they were able to see that or they're in comms with the race director, that would be awesome. Guys, thanks for watching the stream this evening. Great to have you on board. For anyone who is watching this stream after the event, hope you're enjoying. As we see,
who's your pick on this jump? Is there going to be any of these cars from position 6 and then towards the front of the field? Will we see No Frills in this second of the Janettas have a good run? Following Dat Boy in front of him with the Skittles Porsche.
Well, Brett
he's got his teammate.
Brett's the lead, one of the leaders at the moment. Very fast, very competitive. If he can catch the jump at the right time and follow these guys through, he's going to make it very uncomfortable for John Slow and Esky Man, being a three-way battle for first place.
Yeah, definitely, and really for the championship, we are looking at Brett and No Frills. Really, the other one is Darren, so he's actually leading the P2s as they should be going this time around. They're 2 by 2 here.
Gathered up and they are racing. The flag has dropped. We are off and racing again.
So we might just pick up these guys and see if they're going or they're waiting for the start-finish line. I think they're going.
Yep, they are in full race trim now.
So it's probably a little bit better spot for them to come out of the corkscrew because they're all single file and they can all get themselves sorted. And as you can see, the top 6 are all sticking together. A couple of other cars obviously got caught napping coming through the carousel. There's a little bit of a gap between 6 and 7 to the bloody 9. Actually, the bloody 9 is actually there. It's actually Rhetorical Gambit is the one that got caught napping on that restart.
And I'm a little bit surprised here. I thought that Brett and Mac Attack would have had a little bit of advantage, even having missed the jump. But they should have had that little bit of extra pace through that section of track over especially out of the Mercedes. Everyone at the moment within the slipstream. And Esky tries for the outside, but he's going to have to pull out. John Slow runs really wide through there.
He's going to be vulnerable now. Here we go. Esky Man's having that dive down, but no, he just does not have the brakes in the big Mercedes. It needs a lot of brake power to pull up. It's such a heavy car compared to the Porsche.
And I'm pretty sure Brett would have wanted to be a little bit closer to the back of the Merc there, coming out of turn 4.
Here comes that power of that Mercedes, but I think that looks like John Slow's confident to be able to keep his line here and has not have to move in a defensive mode yet. And a big move there was Norb's got Rhetorical Gambit in the BMW. So he's leading now, a bit of a angry pack behind him.
This is not the favourite sector for the BMW. It loses most of its time through sector 3. Porsche will be a lot more commanding coming down through turns 8 into the carousel.
We'll just go back to John Slow here at the moment because I just seen that it looked like it was very, very close of Esky Man coming out of the carousel. A big push in the background there as well from, looks like they've broken away a little bit from the bloody 9. But the bloody 9 is holding off that boy in No Frills. So I think No Frills has dropped a position. He was in position 6 at the start, like the restart.
We can see Brett holding on to the back of that pack as well, and DJM commanding start in the P2s. He's got a 3.5 second lead now over DDF. These top 5 or 6 cars all managing to stay in a train.
Up front here with John Slow, and I tell you what, Brett's getting excited there just behind too, because he can see that Esky Man's been going left, right and every other way that he can go in the braking areas, and he may be just twinkling his thumbs here thinking this could end in tears up front, and Brett could do the old Forrest Gump and or the Stephen Bradbury, you could even say, not the Forrest Gump, the Stephen Bradbury, and come on through here and take the checker. This could be going all the way down to the last lap. The way that John's been able to defend, he knows where the strengths of this Porsche lie and also the weaknesses. So he's been able to cover Esky Man for the last, you could almost say, 48 minutes.
But Esky could be just sitting back for a few laps, just gathering himself, getting back into the feel of the car, getting the car back up to temp. Getting the tyres right, getting the feel for the brakes. He could be making that last final push with only 2 or 3 laps left. There'll be another attack on the back of that Porsche. That Merc will be sticking its nose up very soon, I believe. As we can see that Brett has also got the McLaren up onto the back of that Mercedes as well.
Yeah, Brett's working hard the back of the Mercedes where he can. It's hard to find where the strengths are, where they lie in this McLaren. It's probably just an all-rounder. It doesn't seem to be having any strengths, but here we go. I'll just pick up Esky Man as he's getting squeezed down the inside. John's feeling vulnerable here this time around, but can he do the late dive like he did before with the brakes? Yes, he can, but can he hold it on the exit?
But that has brought Brett right up onto the back of this pack now as the front two fight each other for line.
Oh, there was a little cheeky bump. You could almost say it's a little Shane Van Gisbergen, little bump. But Esky backed out of it, but he could be now vulnerable, as you said to Brett. He's really looking hard down the inside. They're getting squeezed. It's getting very, very racy here. Oh! I think Brett was way out on the grass there. And Brett wasn't able to hold it up, pull it up.
Brett got it back. He's sitting on the back still. I think he chose to go a little bit wide just to give these guys a little bit of racing space. He didn't want to get tied up and tangled into a mess if they made contact with each other. So probably a wise move just to move off to the outside of the track while they fought it out for the apex.
And apologies to everyone else behind these guys. I tell you what, there's a big battle, I think, for Dino and crew, even Rhetorical Gambit. I'm not too sure, but there's a big one coming into through the carousel now behind. It's
I think that's No Frills, Dino and Norbs. And the Bloody Nine.
I think it's the next one around here. So it's this one
Norbs
here, Dino.
On the back of Dino.
Oh, Norbs, he's all over the shot here.
That's a very loose BMW.
On exit, and he's now had the Rhetorical Gambit take that position as he was trying to collect himself. So a big moment for Norbs. He's been able to hold on to that as we just have a look at Brett behind. He's very composed here in position 3, Tim. I think that he could be the little dark horse at the end of this race between the front two.
Don't count out Mac Attack, because he's sitting on the back of this pack waiting to launch if anyone makes a mistake.
That's right. He's come to grips with the Janetta as well. He ran that car off from memory at Laguna Seca at round 2.
We're pretty well looking at a 3-course meal here with KFC. The Twinkies bound to wash it down with a Rockstar and finish off with a donut.
Yes, exactly. And here we go again. Esky's trying to make it tough for John Slow. John Slow's making it tough for Esky. This is great racing we're having here at Gravel Trap Legends. Hope you're enjoying this battle for the GT4 victory. And we've got 2.5 minutes remaining plus the 1 extra lap. So around about 4.5 minutes, guys, left of this race.
And we've got a big shout out to the guys from Veteran Gaming Australia who have rated our party with a party of 3. Welcome, guys. 2.5 minutes to go here for the GT4s around Road America. We're looking at the battle for first, second, third and fourth. But we've jumped up to the battle for first and second of the P2s. It's a multi-class race.
Yeah, these guys have been going at it all race as well. And DDF has just been biding his time, I think, behind Darren. Let Darren do all the hard work. But we've also got the lap traffic that they've got to get through at the same time.
And a quick shout out to an old mate of ours, Illogical Sport, has jumped in to say hey, hey.
Hey, Logical, hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of this action as Stu runs wide out on the grass, as wide as he can be here, and we've got the attack. DDF is, oh, big moment from DDF.
That is a crunch moment, and that is one very sad looking P2.
This is going to benefit Scar, and just remember, guys, there is no virtual safety cars with the 5 minutes remaining, and we're now 1.5 minutes remaining plus the 1 extra lap. So unfortunately for DDF, that is game over, and he will drop all the way down to P4 as Bales will obviously get him. He's got a damaged car. He'll be lucky to get back to the pits. Lucky it was near the end of that lap, but look at Esky Man attacking again. Time's running out. We've got that 1 extra lap.
And this is going to be a win it or bin it moment for Esky if he continues to throw the front of that Mercedes around on the back of the Porsche. But we've seen how strong the Porsche can be through this section of the track, and the Mercedes cannot do it from the outside.
Yeah, they just don't want to get tangled either side by side either. We know that they get that magnetism sometimes on some of these cars, and they can join together, and that can push them both off the circuit. And that's probably what Brett's hoping for, but I wouldn't say Brett's hoping for that. He's probably just enjoying this whole good battle, as it looks like we've got an upset. DDF has actually just quit out. I won't be 100% sure there.
Yes, we have lost a car.
So DDF was the one that had that big, massive moment. So don't know if he actually got back to the pits. He may not have even got back to the pits, Tim. He may have had an engine failure. There is one
P2 sitting in the pits, I believe.
So probably a quick return back to the pits, because he didn't look like he had wheels on that car either. He actually got smashed. But here we go. We'll just have a quick look, guys, where the leading P2 car is. We've run out of time, so this will probably be his last lap. He'll have one more lap to go. So there's time here for these guys here. They're going to have one more lap.
So if the guys have joined the stream, this is a 55-minute race plus 1 lap. It's the Gravel Trap Legends GT4 series, and there is a wild card for this series, and that is the P2 Sigmas. So we see the top 3 cars on the time trap here are running the wild card this evening.
So just to correct that too, I think they're going to have another lap after this, Tim, because the leader of DJM is only just crossing the start-finish line now, and I believe he's still got that 1 extra lap. So if he doesn't lap John Slow, these guys here, as he's going into turn 1 now, which I don't think he's going to have the pace to be able to lap these guys are going to have to do another lap after this. So it's still plenty of time for Esky, and John's just knocked up his fastest first sector of the race. and he's trying to defend from Eskiman. This is how fast these drivers are going late in the race. For John to be able to do his fastest first sector, it's just amazing, Tim.
And absolutely great to see John have a commanding race. He's been so disappointing this series with a couple of DNFs. Great to finally see him find some pace and put it out the front.
Oh, I don't know how many track cut warnings this man has, but he's drifted out there quite a lot throughout this race. He does not want to have to serve a drive-through. We don't get these sort of graphics up on our screen, so we do not know how many track limits he has been given. I believe in this series they get 3 before a drive-through, and he'll be getting close to getting up to that number.
Coming around through the back now, coming up into turn 13. Through Bill Mitchell Bend, turn 14, back onto the start-finish line. And this should be coming up for the start of their final lap.
Stories. Hopefully they've got enough fuel to get to the end as well. They should have more than enough, because we have had those safety car periods where they've been able to conserve fuel. So this will be game on for the final lap. And look at that time, Tim, 0.026 seconds off his fastest lap. And we've got Eskiman on the outside. So race complete, because that is the P2 car just crossing the start-finish line. So it's not over for these guys. They've still got this lap to go.
But we can't underestimate Brett, who actually had a 2:14.3 and pulls right up onto the back of these two while they fight it out.
That could actually be the fastest lap of the race for the GT4s as well. So he's flying.
And that will give him a big boost on the target table.
Yeah, he's going to have a look down the inside. I don't think Eskiman's going to yield here. He's going to go hard. But again, the track layout here at Road America just benefits cars holding position and being defensive, because they can get that inside run.
An outstanding drive by all of these drivers.
It always gets my heart going there when we're watching John slow or Eskiman and you can't see John. I'm thinking, where he's gone off. But no, he's hiding behind the overhead bridge column as he drifts wide. That's the line for the Porsche, obviously, and that's where he's getting that pace. But look at him go at the moment. Now, Eskiman has to be careful, because we've got Brett having a good look now if he can get a good draft.
And with Mac Attack on the back here, the Ginetta is very fast through this sector of track. Don't think they're quite close enough to make a difference here if they all keep it clean. Coming around now through onto the last corner, making the run up the hill onto the start-finish line. Absolutely outstanding drive by John Slow. Fantastic effort for the Porsche to be at the front of the race almost from lap 1, Neil.
Yes, and it was a shame that we didn't have a little bit more extra time to go through all those drivers there on the screen, but we knew that they were getting close to be that 1 lap, actually 2 laps down in the end there, as Dat Boy was the last car to stay on the same lap of the other GT4s. There, as the other cars got done by a lap with Dino. So yeah, DJM and Scar, and then Bales got the silverware, all the trophies there for the outright honours, but then it was that sensational drive by John Slow. And as we can see, that 2:14.360 by Brett on that lap that you picked up on, Tim, was the fastest lap of the race, which was the penultimate lap. So that is outstanding from Brett. Eskiman in second, Mac Attack in fourth, the Bloody Nine in fifth, No Frills in sixth position, Dat Boy in seventh, Dino in eighth, Norb's coming home in ninth position with Christopher. He had his ups and downs in that race in 10th, so he'll be happy to be in the top 10. Kiz in 11th, Rhetorical Gambit in 12th, Mark the championship leader all the way down in the 13th position. He won't be happy with that, but things can improve from there on. He's got the pace. G-Dude in 14th, Stu in 15th. Viperon finally finishes a race, Tim, in 16th, but with a 21 second time penalty, which probably cost him a position in 14. It looks like he dropped from 14 down to 16 with that time penalty. Max Power comes home in 17th with Pixel Boy in 18th, and Joshua Hill retired in that PV Camaro in 19th position. And we know that DDF also retired after that monumental crash that we saw.
Absolutely outstanding. Good night to the VGA crew. Thanks for jumping in and saying g'day at the end of the stream. Glad you enjoyed it. Love the battle for first place in the GT4 series.
Most definitely. Thanks for joining, Veteran Gaming.
So let's see if we can't find John Slow in chat and drag him over in to say g'day. If I'll just change up to our screens. Hopefully it allows me to drag down past. Yep. And we have the winner of the GT4 series, John Slow. Good evening, John. John has his microphone muted. Good evening, John.
Sorry, mate. How are you? Sorry, Tim.
Oh, good. Congratulations.
Mate, that was hectic and sweaty.
Oh, I reckon you'll be as greasy as the bucket of chicken you ate before the race there, John.
I am finger licking good, mate. Let me tell you that.
I tell you what, that will be such a great way to finish the Monday night blues, as they call it, to take victory there on an absolutely astonishing drive. You had that Porsche in every single position that you needed to be, with a challenge of Esky Man behind, and also Brett also nudging Esky Man at the same time. So
yep.
That was some sort of race in there, John.
Thank you, mate. It was 30 minutes of just car placement, mate. That was I was just trying to set up every corner. I knew where the Merc had me down the straights, and just kept it in the normal bit on the twisty bits, and just parked it at the inside. We had a great battle. It was so close. Really good, respectful racing. Brilliant.
And the most outstanding thing there, John, is you guys did not drop your race pace. You were still running in the 214s while battling each other. All insane.
That's the best battle I've had in a very long while.
The penultimate lap, you had the first to sector ring off its bell, and then next thing you know, we're thinking you're going to have the fastest lap of the race. Ding, you do, but then Brett comes through with a 14.360, and that was with another 2 laps to go. So you guys were absolutely motoring, and there was nothing between you. You could have thrown a blanket over the 3 of you guys.
Yeah, it's a good battle in the first half with Brett. Yeah,
and we won't also forget about Mac attacking the Dunkin' Donuts Janetta as well. He wasn't that far behind at all as well. So, that was a great race to call, John, and we really thoroughly enjoyed the professionalism from both yourself, Esky Man, Brett, Mac Attack. What a great race that was for round 3.
Thanks, Neil. Thanks, Tim. Hope it looked great on your stream there, boys. I'll have a watch later.
Absolutely, mate. It was an absolute pleasure to watch. It made for some absolutely outstanding footage. Going to be an absolute cracker to come back and review the footage for this race for sure.
And you boys, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, John. We'll throw you back to the team chat.
Thanks, Neil. Cheers, mate.
Well, Tim, you've got the big boys showing it over the kids with the Skittles and the M&Ms and all that. You had the KFC and the Rockstar Energy drink and the Twinkies as well. Everything was happening, wasn't it? And then the Bloody Nine. Don't forget about him. He was in the JD car as well in position 5, so he was up and down throughout the race. Remember, he was on pole position, I think it was, for the start of the race, and had that monumental spin that put him at the back of the grid of the field, and he's come through to end up coming home in 5th position. So that was a sensational drive from the Bloody Nine as well.
And again, the Bloody Nine having a commanding series in the GT4s. Been powerful all year. but this series has been a standout for him for sure. We're going to see some great things for him in the next 3 rounds. So next week, Neil, off to Montreal. I'll be running solo in the broadcast booth. The following week, Neil will be running solo, and we will be off to Watkins Glen before the final round when we're back together again for Indianapolis.
What a way to finish this series. We've only had the 3 rounds, and we've still got another 3 to go. So
and these
how good is that?
GT4s have brought on some of the best racing we have seen so far. It's absolutely outstanding. And hats off to the drivers as well, mate. Absolutely outstanding. 2 wide for almost an entire lap after lap. A lot of respect for these guys, the way they've managed to give each other racing space and still maintain their race pace. Absolutely incredible. Guys, if you enjoy what we've just seen, get involved, jump onto Discord, join Gravel Trap Legends. You can drag these cars out on a Wednesday night in Shakedown. This Wednesday night is at Montreal. Jump on Discord. Get in touch with Stu or Kiz or Kuku or any of the admin. They'll get you lined up. Absolute cracker experience. Absolute love it.
Yeah, and you may just want to jump on there as well, because you might just see a woody lizard in the BMW Viagra BMW. We'll be running around on Wednesday night as well.
If I can bring myself together, I'm going to have the BMW fender bender out this Wednesday if everything pans out well for me. So we'd love to see you guys out on track. But this has been Gravel Trap Legends GT4 Americana series on Monday nights. This is the Pro Series. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for watching the stream. Hope you've absolutely enjoyed it. Don't forget, we upload this to YouTube. You can find it on TVJP Sim Racing on YouTube. There's a link here in the Twitch channel. Thank you guys for supporting us. We love bringing it to you every week. Until next week, guys, take care. We're out.
Cheerio.